What if I told you, the people who disappear from everyone's life aren't always cold. They're not always selfish, and they're not always toxic. Sometimes they're just tired of explaining, tired of being misunderstood, tired of giving more than they receive. And one day, they don't argue, they don't complain, they don't warn you, they just disappear. You start asking yourself questions. Did I do something wrong? Why didn't they say anything? How can someone just cut people off like that? In a world where connection is constant, messages, notifications, social media, disappearing has become one of the loudest forms of communication. And yet, the people who do it are often the quietest. They don't argue, they don't explain, and they don't try to fix things. They simply leave. But behind this silence, there is always a reason. And people who cut everyone off are not always cold, careless, or heartless. Sometimes they are doing something much deeper, something psychological, something that most people never fully understand. In this video, we explore the psychology of people who choose distance over connection. Stay with me until the end, because the sixth reason reveals something most people completely misunderstand, and it's the real reason people disappear without saying a single word. For most people, conflict looks like communication. If something feels wrong, you talk about it. You explain, you argue, and you try to fix it. But not everyone is wired that way. Some people don't see confrontation as a solution. They see it as something exhausting, even painful. So instead of speaking up, they step away. When someone cuts people off, it can often be a form of setting a boundary, but in a way that avoids direct conflict. They may feel that explaining themselves will lead to more misunderstanding, more arguments, and more emotional drain. So instead, they choose distance. To others, it looks sudden, but for them, it's usually the result of something that has been building for a long time. And eventually, the mind reaches a point where it says, I don't want to explain anymore. I just want peace. There is a certain kind of tiredness that doesn't come from physical effort. It comes from people, from relationships that feel one-sided, from conversations that go nowhere, from constantly giving more than you receive. People who cut everyone off often reach a level of emotional exhaustion that others don't see. They may have tried, many times, to stay connected, to make things work. But when those efforts don't change anything, something shifts. The mind starts looking for the easiest way out. And sometimes, the easiest way out is silence. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much, without feeling the same in return. So they withdraw, not dramatically, not loudly, but completely. Another reason some people cut others off is something more subtle. They don't believe they will be understood. This often comes from past experiences, moments where they tried to explain how they felt and were ignored, dismissed, or judged. Over time, this creates a pattern, a belief that explaining yourself doesn't lead to clarity. It leads to frustration. So instead of trying again, they stop. They choose silence over explanation, distance over dialogue, because in their mind, it feels safer. Safer than being misunderstood again, safer than opening up and feeling invalidated. So when they leave, they don't always think they don't deserve an explanation. Sometimes they think it wouldn't change anything anyway. From the outside, cutting people off can look strong, decisive, independent, and unbothered. It can even be admired. People say things like, I wish I could just cut people off like that. But the reality is often more complicated, because not all distance comes from strength. Sometimes it comes from avoidance. Avoidance of difficult conversations, avoidance of emotional vulnerability, avoidance of facing problems directly. For some individuals, leaving is easier than staying and working through discomfort. It's easier to disappear than to explain. Easier to start fresh than to repair something broken. But it also reveals something important. Cutting people off is not always a solution. Sometimes it's a temporary escape. There is another psychological layer behind this behavior. Relationships can feel unpredictable. Emotions can feel messy. Other people's reactions can't always be controlled. But one thing can be controlled: distance. When someone chooses to cut people off, they are taking control of their environment. They are deciding who has access to them, who gets their time, who gets their energy. For individuals who feel overwhelmed or emotionally unstable, this sense of control can feel comforting. It creates a boundary that feels clear. No confusion, no negotiation, just distance. And in a world that often feels chaotic, that clarity can be powerful. But here is where things become more complex. For some people, cutting others off is not a one-time decision. It becomes a pattern, a repeated response to discomfort. Every time a relationship becomes difficult, they leave. Every time conflict appears, they disappear. At first, it feels like self-protection, but over time, it can lead to isolation. Because no relationship is perfect. Every connection requires effort, communication, and sometimes discomfort. If someone constantly escapes at the first sign of difficulty, they may never build deep, lasting connections. They may keep starting over, meeting new people, forming new bonds, only to eventually leave again, and again, and again, until one day they realize something unexpected. It's not that everyone else is the problem. It's that they never stayed long enough to find out. It's important to understand something clearly. Not all distance is unhealthy. Sometimes cutting people off is necessary. In toxic relationships, in situations where someone feels unsafe, disrespected, or emotionally drained beyond repair. Walking away can be the healthiest choice. But there is a difference between healthy boundaries and emotional walls. Healthy boundaries are clear and intentional. They involve communication, understanding, and closure. Emotional walls, on the other hand, are silent and absolute. They block everything, not just the pain, but also the possibility of connection. People who build emotional walls often believe they are protecting themselves, and in some ways, they are. But they may also be protecting themselves from growth, from the vulnerability that real relationships require. From the outside, people who cut everyone off can seem unaffected, like they don't need anyone, like they're completely fine on their own. But the truth is often more complicated. Humans are wired for connection. No matter how independent someone appears, the need for understanding, companionship, and belonging doesn't disappear. It just becomes hidden. People who repeatedly distance themselves may experience a quiet kind of loneliness, not always obvious, not always acknowledged, but present. Because cutting people off removes not only the problems, but also the possibility of meaningful connection. And over time, that absence can be felt, even if it's never spoken. So what does it really mean when someone cuts everyone off? It doesn't always mean they don't care. It doesn't always mean they are cold, selfish, or heartless. Sometimes it means they are tired of explaining, tired of feeling misunderstood, tired of giving more than they receive. Sometimes it means they are protecting themselves, and sometimes it means they don't know another way to deal with what they feel. But at its core, this behavior reveals something deeply human: the struggle between connection and self-protection, between staying and leaving, between speaking and choosing silence. Because in the end, cutting people off is not just about others. It's about how someone handles pain, how they respond to discomfort, and how they choose to protect their peace. And maybe the real question isn't just why some people disappear, but whether silence is always the answer, or just the easiest one. Now, you know why people cut everyone off, but here's something even more interesting. Because some people don't just cut people off, they slowly erase themselves from memories too. If you've ever wondered why some people never take photos, watch this video next, because it explains everything.